Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to another episode of Ben and Joel Reviews. I'm Ben.
And I'm Joel.
And this is the podcast where we discuss movies, TV shows, and theatre.
And whatever else we want.
So please, sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Absolutely scorching. We're recording this in May. Oh, and the heat is just killing.
It really is. We'd love to have the luxury to have a fan, but unfortunately that messes with audio quality. So
yes,
we suffer for our art.
Indeed.
Yeah. But have you made the most of the weather? Have you been enjoying it?
I have, you know, on the way here I bought myself a really nice pair of shades. Just enjoying the sunshine.
Tom Cruise over here.
Oh, if only I could be a Scientologist.
Don't. It's my advice, don't.
How about you? Have you been enjoying the weather despite the scorching heat?
Well, yeah. As you know, I'll tell the listeners, I've just had a little week off the Muggle job. Mm-hmm. It was really nice, really relaxing.
Good.
And then I've gone back and all that relaxation has been undone within 2 days. But, you know, that's life.
So, today's episode is quite an interesting topic.
Yeah. You sort of pondered how I even thought of this.
Yeah.
When we met up previously. So today we're going to be discussing Alien Autopsy.
Yes.
The Ant and Dec film. So when we were sort of brainstorming ideas, it was around the time that Ant and Dec did the season finale for Saturday Night Takeaway for the 20th series, where they announced they're taking a break. It might come back, it might not. And so that was kind of on the brain for me. And then not long afterwards, I listened to a Son of Dork song. I don't think it was ever actually officially released, called We're Not Alone, which is the end credits song for Alien Autopsy.
Yeah.
And my brain just suddenly put two and two together and went, oh, that film! It's got Ant and Dec in it. And so here we are.
Yeah, so the film is based on a true story.
Which is mad.
About two guys who recreated it's obviously fake footage of an alien autopsy and managed to sell it to a whole bunch of television studios around the world and ended up making a shitload of money out of it.
They made thousands.
And this was in the mid-90s. So this was before social media, YouTube, all of that.
AI.
Yeah. And they managed to fool most people.
Well, for a time it seemed like they'd fooled the world. Like, I mean, as we'll discuss in the film, there was like documentaries made and all sorts of things where like interviews where people were absolutely lapping it up. They really wanted it to be real. Whether they believed it was or otherwise, I don't know. But I think people did want it to be real.
Yeah, I mean, do you believe that we are not alone in the universe?
That's a bit of a loaded question, really. I think there probably is some kind of life out there, but you know, they're probably so many light years away that, you know, Earth and humanity will be long gone, swallowed by a supernova or a black hole before we get any chance to see them, which is kind of bleak.
I was gonna say, I'm scared now.
Infinite nothing, then. That's what space is.
No!
Infinite nothingness.
Ah!
Yeah, I have the pessimist's view, to be honest. There probably is life out there. Will we meet them? No. Do you agree?
No, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it might be a little naive to think that there's nothing out there. There could very well be something. I suppose I'm more of a skeptic. However, I am not these obsessed theorists.
Yeah, some people do go really down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but, you know, much like with religion, I'm more of an agnostic.
Yeah.
And with...
You're an alien agnostic.
Yeah, I'm an AA.
Don't take that. No, okay, that's a good stance to have, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, diving into the film then, you'd seen it prior to watching it for the pod, right?
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah. I remember seeing it. Now, I say it was like some kind of break from school or whatever. It was on, like, I don't know, like some New Year's Day or something like that. And I just kind of caught it while it was on. And I'd remembered surprisingly little from it. I think back then I was just like, oh, it's got Ant and Dec in. Which, funnily enough, was kind of my reaction this time round. No, I really actually properly enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It is well made, as we'll discuss. So we're going to go top down?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go top down.
Okay. So my first and sort of most glaring question, which I assume you probably have as well, is how did Ant and Dec get cast in this?
That is yeah, because my first note is Ant and Dec are in a movie.
Yeah, I tried to look up anything about how it was cast. I couldn't really find much. Because in my head, it seemed like, they might have been like executive producers on it or something like that and sort of cast themselves. But they're not.
No.
They were actually properly
approached,
cast.
Yeah.
And I think in my head, do you remember the Harry Hill movie?
I've never seen it.
I mean,
nor do I ever want to.
I've not really seen it, but it seems like, I think in my head I was thinking it was more akin to that. It was more like Harry Hill wanted to make a Harry Hill movie, and so he did. And so in my mind, it's like, well, Ant and Dec wanted to make a movie, and so they did. I thought like they were probably going to be in control.
So it was more like you thought it was like an Ant and Dec the movie.
Essentially, yeah, but it's really not. They were properly cast. And
the movie has absolutely nothing to do with Ant and Dec.
No, it is so far removed from the rest of their careers.
Yeah.
So like so far away from like Saturday Night Takeaway, PJ and Duncan, Biker Grove. Like it's nothing to do with that.
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Oh God, yeah. It's such a departure from what they normally do, and I think that's why it's so mind-boggling.
But I mean, it's no Keith Lemon the movie.
I've never seen that, nor will I.
No.
I remember there was a time in my life I used to think Keith Lemon was really cool, and then I realised
What?
he was, genuinely. I used to think he was very, very cool, and then I suddenly grew up and realised he's just a man who sits on ITV2 shouting "potato," and that's quite dull. So yeah,
he just looks like a giant orange with banana hair. Shouting random words.
Yeah, I think he peaked in Bo Selector. Yeah.
Who copied who? Did Keith Lemon copy Donald Trump, or did Donald Trump copy Keith Lemon?
Oh no, both are equally sinful choices. Let's not go there. But yeah, so like, it kind of fascinated me because I've always kind of been, I wouldn't say like a big fan of Ant and Dec, but I've always like sort of. In British culture, you can't really escape them. Everyone is kind of has an awareness of their career and how it's progressed.
If you are a Brit, or if you're someone from another country who lives in Britain, like you just said, you can't escape them.
Do you want to know something really sad?
Go on.
There was a time where I kind of liked the thought of being like a host, like Ant and Dec, and quite often when we were younger, I would watch the intro to Saturday Night Takeaway, the one with like sort of jumping from the skyscrapers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it was you and me.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely.
No, that's sweet.
Yeah. Genuinely. That's probably got a lot of views in my YouTube history. Because that's what I do. I just pretend to be other people.
Some would say that's DID. No.
But yeah, that said, there are points where your brain just goes, that's Dec.
Yeah.
That's Ant.
Yeah.
But then there are times where their acting is good enough where they totally sell it and you're invested and it doesn't get in the way at all. It sort of ebbs and flows.
Because I was going to say, I didn't think the acting was bad.
No, I don't think...
In any way.
I don't think there's any actor that's poor.
I didn't think it was amazing.
No, it's not going to win any Oscars, certainly. No. But it was really well done. I think it might be down to the director. I forget who directed it now, actually. Ben's dying, everyone. Ben's dying.
My apologies.
But yes, sorry. I forget the director. The director is my brain.
Is it Johnny Campbell?
Johnny Campbell. It's directed well. Like I feel like he brought out good performances in Ant and Dec.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a stellar supporting cast as well.
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, who's in the intro. I imagine we'll probably get to individual members of the supporting cast as they come up in the plot, as we're kind of boating through. But Bill Pullman is in the intro.
Yeah.
And one thing I did have to say about that intro, they set that tension up really well. That first 5 minutes really draws you in. You think, what's going on? Why is this guy wanting to interview these people? Why is it so secretive? Why is there a stack of papers that he has to sign as an NDA before he can interview them? It really kind of sets the stakes quite high right from the get-go. And then you're instantly hooked.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good. I like very much high praise.
I think it's when Ant and Dec come into the office, and obviously the guys they're playing, Ray Santilli and Gary. Is it Gary Schofield?
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
Schofield or Schofield.
Yeah. Obviously, we're just going to call them Ant and Dec.
Yes.
They come in and they shake hands with people, and obviously Bill Pullman's like, "Come on, like, what is this?" And he's like, "Oh, just search my name on Google," and it's got like over 3 million searches or something like that.
Crazy number of searches.
And I think it's the producer of the film company that they're at. He's like, "Oh, but you want to hear their story now?"
Yeah.
And that's when the opening credits start.
Yeah. And that's sort of, I think it's not just selling it to Bill Pullman, but it's selling it to us as the audience, because I think maybe they were aware of the fact that people would be just see it as Ant and Dec, and they wanted to kind of be able to set the scene and pull people in.
Yeah.
And sort of shut the door on that a little bit. And it works. It really, really worked. And then that is followed by a few sort of handful of like flash scenes, bit of a montage, introducing Ray and Gary, Ant and Dec, where I genuinely think it sets up their characters perfectly. I actually think that little sequence, it's only like 2 minutes of screen time at most, but how it rapidly sets up who Ray is as an individual, how Gary is as an individual, and then their relationship to one another is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, Dec plays Ray, who's like sort of, they're kind of a bit Del Boy and Rodney in a way.
A little bit.
Not to an extreme. There's a little hint, a little subtle hint. So Ray's kind of dodgy, selling like knockoff VHS tapes, and you know, he's into loads of shady stuff. Whereas Gary, Ant, I need to pick a name and just stick with it.
Yeah.
Ant is just, he's a clerk at a law firm or something, and he kind of wants to be on the straight and narrow. He wants to just kind of work and earn a living, and immediately there's tension because Ray takes Gary's car, and they meet on screen really, really quickly, and they're like straight away they're having like an argument, and it sets up all of these things, the individuals and the relationship, so fast and so like economically. Doesn't waste any time. I really admired that.
Jimmy Carr's in the film.
Yes, Jimmy Carr. I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten he was in it. I actually think, and I have it written in my own notes somewhere, I think he's cast for his part quite well.
I mean, he's in it for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, he fits the character type, the sort of boss.
Yeah.
You know, bit of a shithead.
Yeah.
And he plays it. I suppose he kind of plays it like Jimmy Carr.
Yeah, pretty much, just without the swearing.
Yeah, but it works. It works for what it needs to be. It's a shame someone of such talent and humour is not used very much in the film, certainly. But yeah, there's a lot of those sort of British celebrity cameos. I think some of them would be more recognisable today, but certainly of its time they wouldn't have been recognisable to international audiences.
Because there's the actor, I've forgotten his name.
Omid Jalili.
That's it.
Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal actor and a great comedian. And he steals pretty much every scene that he's in.
Yeah, he does chew it up pretty well.
You can tell he's having a ball. I don't want to skip ahead to the one scene that you know that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Talking about this, we'll get to that because there's so much to say about that one scene. But he is fantastic, phenomenal, and great casting.
So, would you say that Ray and Gary are like the greatest con artists this country has ever seen?
Oh, that's loaded. Possibly, yeah. I think if you were to say sort of all time around the world, probably not. Mind you, saying that, the art of a good con is not getting caught. So how many times have people succeeded in things like that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, You know, but no, I think it's certainly the biggest scandal of a con, you know, that got found out because, you know, it involves so much that, like, British intelligence, US military, loads of different landmarks, places around the world, that, you know, people of note. It was mental.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it probably is like the sort of the biggest con of our time, really. I don't remember it much. Gary.
I think Gary's outside. Alan! I think we're good.
Okay. Sorry, we were interrupted by Gary.
Gary?
What were we talking about? I genuinely don't remember what we were talking about. Right, so welcome to the podcast. You're Ben, I'm Joel. Today we're talking about Alien Autopsy. Oh my god, it's got Ant and Dec in it. The intro with Bill Pullman. That was really cool. The relationship between Ant and Dec, really, really cool. Oh my god, Jimmy Carr's in this. Oh, with Jalili. And then we were at...
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. Just to recap everything. So, yeah, so Ray, he was buying, like, some stock footage of Elvis.
Which is a weird setup to begin with.
Yeah.
Because what their original plan was to go to Miami?
I think so.
To buy some footage of Elvis at this one bar and then take the film back to the UK and sell it for thousands. How are they turning a profit on that?
I have no idea.
I mean, unless they're buying the film relatively cheap and then selling it on for a lot like more money.
Yeah, I've no idea how it works. But then it's while he's there and he's looking at the Elvis footage that the guy who's selling it to him goes, I have another piece of footage I think you'd like to look at. Which is weird.
Why does he invite him to look at it? That's what I don't understand. Because it seemed like in the scene prior to that, Santilli was sort of kind of f***ing with him a bit. Like, the film quality is a bit poor. It's like, you know, like, it's like, I can't remember what the line is, but something like, it's not like mint condition or whatever. To try and lowball him on price. And the guy's very clearly like, well, if if you're not interested, then I'll, take the film and go. So he clearly has a low opinion of Santilli.
Yeah.
Kind of sees him as a bit of not a crook per se, but, a bit, I don't know what the word is.
Dodgy.
Yeah, let's go dodgy.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's a bit dodgy. So why would he come back and then be like, actually, there's something more valuable that you're going to want? Why would you do that?
Well, he doesn't offer it to him at first. He just goes, I want to show it to you.
Yeah. Does he do that to anyone he meets in a bar?
Yeah. By the way, I have some footage I think you'd like to see.
Imagine if you did that now.
You'd get arrested.
Just go into a Witherspoons.
I've got something I think you'd really like to see.
You'd get kicked out.
You get kicked out, arrested.
But then there is that scene where, I forget the character's name, but the guy who has the film to begin with drives Santilli to his home.
Yeah.
To view the footage.
Yeah.
And the build up for that, the tension rise is like really good. And I love the fact that you don't see what Santilli sees on that film. Because it keeps, throughout the entirety of the film, because you haven't seen it, it keeps your mind open to being skeptic. If they showed you it outright, in terms of film narrative, that's telling you as an audience member, oh, it's real. Because you don't see it, it gives you the freedom to have an open mind.
And then it cuts to Bill Pullman being like, hang on a minute, what did you just say? And Dec says the footage was an autopsy of an alien being.
Yeah. That line is delivered really well.
It is.
But in Geordie.
Yeah. It was an autopsy of an alien being.
Day 54 in Area 51. And Dec are going to do an autopsy.
Welcome back to Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway.
Oh God,
We've got some footage we think you'd really like to see.
We've descended into doing bad Geordie accents already.
Yeah.
It didn't take us long.
But how the guy who Bill Pullman plays, how did he not laugh at Ray and Gary? Because if that was me, and if they were saying to me, we saw footage of an alien being, I'd laugh in their faces.
Yeah, I'd have walked the f*** out.
Yeah.
Like, f*** your NDA.
It's just like, I mean, hats off to the guy for being patient with them and for listening to their whole story. But I'd get up and leave. I'd be like, I'm not interested in this.
Yeah.
It's clearly a hoax.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe he wanted to hear them out. Sort of morbid curiosity, I suppose. I think maybe I would have a bit of a morbid curiosity.
I mean, yeah, you'd probably like to see how crazy the story gets.
Yeah.
And it does get weird
It's
at
like,
points.
you know, sometimes where, you know, there's some weirdo telling you a totally made up story and you just keep going like, oh yeah, and then what?
Yeah.
And just let them keep going because you just want to see how far
nodding.
they'll take it. It's like, and then we were on the moon. Oh yeah? And then what? Oh, and then there was cheese everywhere.
For some reason, we're interrogating Wallace.
Yeah. Well, my brain connected moon and cheese. Moon cheese.
I think it's made out of Wensleydale. But yeah, he buys the footage from the guy for like 30 grand. Oh, that's right, because he needs to get the money from an investor.
Yes, which brings us to Laszlo.
Laszlo, I forgot his name, so thank you for reminding me.
I forget his surname, but I know his first name is Laszlo.
Laszlo, yeah.
Who I also think is very well cast. I don't know the actor very well,
I've never seen him in anything else.
but he fits that sort of role really well. So he's sort of, what is he, a Hungarian criminal
Art dealer.
Yeah.
Sells cocaine on the side.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be like really threatening, really imposing, really scary. And I think he is, at least to begin with. Like, there's a scene later on where you kind of really see him and Deck stood next to each other, and it's like he's twice his size.
He's very tall.
And there's a moment later on where he puts both of his hands on Deck's face, and his hands are huge. Like, he really looks imposing.
It's almost like they got a really tall guy to play Laszlo, and then they got Deck, who's quite a small person.
Yeah.
I think he's a lot smaller than me.
Yeah. He's only wee.
He's only wee. What's that line from Rock and Roller? Don't hurt me, Arch. I'm only little. So yeah, they got like a really tall guy and a really small guy, and then there's a scene where he like puts his hands on his face, and his hands are massive, and then he hugs him and lifts him, and spins him around.
Yeah. And I know it sounds really simple, casting someone really like sort of big and imposing to play the gangster, and someone really small to kind of play the kind of weedy sort of lying main character.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it is so extreme, that difference, that it really makes you feel the tension when they feel like they're under threat from Laszlo.
But then the only person who feels threatened is Deck.
Well, yeah, he's the only person really under threat, I suppose.
He doesn't really seem that afraid.
Oh, no, yeah. I forgot about this. Yeah, there's a bit where he's sort of moping to... Dex sort of talking to Ant about, oh, he's gonna kill me. I don't know why I said it like that. That was like really stupid. But so, oh, no, he's gonna kill me. But it's just like, it's so casual, nonchalant. Like, he might as well be saying, oh, I spilt my tea. Oh, I forgot to pick up the beans from the shop. It's like it's just like...
Laszlo's going to kill me.
Yeah, it's just like it's a random part of every day, just like a little happenstance, a little minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
And it's little moments like that where the cracks start to show. Little, tiny little moments like that.
There's a moment where, what is it? Deck's being chased by the police because he's selling copied movies, and he runs to Ant, and he's like, "Yo, you gotta help me get it back." No, but you're my lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not your lawyer because I'm not a lawyer. I work in a clerk. And he's like, oh, these bits of exposition.
Yeah.
And then Deck runs.
This is my job.
Yeah. And then Deck runs over to him, and this one part, the acting in particular, was pretty bad. And like Deck sort of squints his eyes and he goes, "Do you really want to be working in a firm for the rest of your life?"
That's actually quite good. Like, it is... Sorry. It is sort of this is all the information that you need to know. And now we're going to America. Where's my car? Oh, that was so bad. I was like I'm in my mum's car. Get out my car!
No.
Not saying car in my rubbish Geordie accent ever again. Like, that's the point. As in, like, the whole reason Gary goes along... Ant. Just say Ant and Dec, Joel. Ant and Dec. Pick a name. So the whole reason Ant goes along with this whole charade starts because Dec sold his car.
Yeah. He's like, Ray, where's my car? And then it just cuts to them on the airplane flying to America.
Yeah. And it's like, do you know, at the point where someone had said, oh, I know how we get out of this. We fake an alien autopsy. I'd be like, I'll just not have a car for a bit. Be fine. I'll just walk. I mean, they live in central London. Take the tube, you lazy c***s.
If someone came up to me and said to me, it's your choice. Either your friend dies or you recreate an alien autopsy for me.
Okay. No, yeah. If you frame it like that, then yeah, okay.
No.
If I was going to die?
No, I'd let you die. I'd be like, I'm not recreating an alien autopsy.
This is what loyalty gets you.
I'm joking.
It's so sad. So upset, everyone. Podcast's over.
But yeah, the reason Laszlo wants to kill Dec... Oh no, well he doesn't want to kill him yet because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
But the footage has eaten itself.
Yes. I think they explain it as like it's been sat in its container in Miami in a garage for like 50 years, which is hot and humid, which is really bad for film.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the actor. I'm sure you'll tell me, from Shameless.
I was going to ask you the same question.
Oh, shall we just look it up on IMDb?
We'll have to look it up. Completely forgotten his name.
Looking up on
He's in
IMDb.
Shameless. He's in Hot Fuzz. Oh God, what else has he been in? David Thrifall.
David.
David.
Call him
we'll just
David.
call him David.
But I didn't recognise him at first until you pointed it out, because he's under like a quite extensive
wig and beard.
Because
you thought it was Reece Shearsmith at first.
Well, when he first appears, you don't see him straight away. You hear a bit of voice while you can see his hands examining the film.
Yeah.
And the voice that he uses sounds like, you know, when Reece Shearsmith's putting on that sort of high pitched sort of wow, well, you know, like that kind of voice in like Inside Number 9 and League of Gentlemen. It sounded like that. I didn't do it justice with my impression. What we're learning is I can't do accents. But that's kind of how it sounded. That was the sort of resonance. And I was like, oh my God, it's Reece Shearsmith.
Yeah. And I was like, no.
It wasn't.
No. There's a bit, was it? He says, he goes, oh, smell that. He's like, film cannot survive at that particular length of time.
He's talking like Davy Jones.
I was going to say, I sound a bit more like Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
Would you like to come aboard the Jammy Dodger?
Or is that the British Flying Dutchman, is it?
Why did I say Jammy Dodger? That's from Flushed Away.
So we've touched on Wallace and Gromit. Now
Flushed away. What next?
Chicken Run. Yeah.
But yeah, the footage is eating itself.
It has.
And that's when Dec starts to panic. Because Laszlo was going to kill him.
Yeah, because he'll rightly think it's a scam.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dec's gran is going on dates with this man.
Yeah.
What was his name? Was it Martin? I think it was Martin.
Maurice,
yes.
Crazy old Maurice.
Oh, God. Yeah, and then Dec sort of having a dad-type talk with Maurice, being like, you know, this is my gran. And he's like, oh, you know, I don't want any funny business.
Yeah.
And then Maurice shows him that he makes mannequins. Yeah, Dec's like, what do you even do for your job? And he goes, oh, I do this. And they're walking by a shop that has mannequins. He's like, I make mannequins. And then the idea just kind of, it's like a light bulb switches on in Dec's head.
He gets the idea.
And he goes in the kebab shop and he sees Ant and he sits down and he goes, Maurice can make us an alien. Then I can film it. And then they find out that, I can't pronounce the actor's name.
Omid Jalili.
Yeah, who runs the kebab shop, also shoots wedding videos. So they get him. They don't show the process of them convincing him to come. It just cuts to them speaking to him, and he's already very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, which sort of made me wonder, were they complicit in the hoax, or were they strung along by Santilli?
Yeah.
It did make me question. But then later on in the film, when there's talk of money, they're all keen to take a cut, so maybe they are aware.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, the amount of people that, if that's the case, that were involved in making this hoax. Also, before we kind of dive into the next chunk of the film, because there's a lot to talk about, do you not think the stakes build really naturally? I know it might sound really silly, but as I mentioned in the setup, Deck's character is very much sort of a, oh, this'll work. It'll be a crazy idea where he's like, oh, this'll work. And they have that thing that they set up, which I think we'll get back to, bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Which I think it was a really good callback.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was a good callback.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many stakes in the film, though.
There are personal stakes for Santilli.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So you can see, even though like the next step that he takes, you think, well, that's silly. You just dig in the hole deeper. But you can sort of see how he's arrived at each conclusion. So it's, I need money, we go to America to get some film and make a scam. Cool. Oh, there's this other film. Oh, cool. I want that because I can sell that on. Cool. I've got this buyer who's willing to fund this film. Now I've got the film. Oh no, the film's gone. Let's take it to a repair guy. The repair guy tells him it's like finished, done for. Okay, what do we do next? And then he sees the just see like the leaps and bounds between each thing. Although ridiculous, you can track it. You can see his train of thought, which is why I think he's actually quite a well fleshed out character. But then I suppose that is because it's based on a true story.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stakes that are actually threatening, the only one that really struck with me was Laszlo. But then he gets run over by a Range Rover while he's naked in a crop circle, admiring it or hoping to be abducted or something.
What a way to go.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
And then once he's gone, once he's out of the picture, I felt relaxed. I like throughout the rest of the film, I thought, I don't feel a lot of tension now because the main threat is gone.
Okay, I see what you mean. But there's also the fact that they're sort of later on they're being watched by presumably the US military. And in publicising the lie, I don't know what the law is, but they broke a lot of laws in what they did. I don't know if they ever faced any prison time or anything like that.
I don't think they did.
Any sentencing. But there was a big risk involved that they might have done.
Yeah.
And I think I had that in the back of my head. Because there's a line in the intro with Bill Pullman. Before Ant and Dec even come on screen, I suppose their representative talking to Bill Pullman says, you have to sign this NDA because they've got no idea how many laws they've broken.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's right.
That little exchange was kind of in my mind throughout the entirety. So that's why I kind of felt the tension rising as Dec's character just progressively digs this hole deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, the autopsy scene itself. So they've got Maurice. They've got
Omid Jalili.
Yeah, I can never pronounce his name.
Just say Omid.
Omid. They get Omid and a bunch of other people to help make the alien.
Yes.
And it's like a bunch of meats that they use for the organs. They build a fake set in their living room that mimics a lab of some kind.
Yes.
Omid has got, what is it, like a Super 8 camera?
Yeah, it looks like a Super 8.
And he's going to film it. And then they start shooting the autopsy. Kind of going, obviously, things in between, like the nan coming in going, would you like a biscuit?
Well, that's something I wanted to touch on. That montage, it does go on for a while, right? But it is really funny. There are probably, I'd say, about 50% of the best jokes, the best comedy moments in this film happen in this one sequence.
Yeah.
So there's the bit where Omid Jalili is, I've written the phrase down, when he's going all director man.
Oh.
It's like, bit pointing, bit nodding. The first time they see the alien, he keeps saying, bit pointing, bit nodding.
Oscar-winning director there.
Yeah, beautiful. But that was really funny. Delivered great. And then there's obviously all the take interruptions, like you say. The nan going, hey, would anybody like any biscuits? It's quite funny. They're like, oh, Nan, get out of the way.
And was it cuts there and go, have we got hold of Ray's nan? And Maurice has got her trapped in the kitchen.
Yeah, and he's like barricading her in. That was good. And then there's the Undertaker fella who stood behind the glass.
Oh, yeah.
It was like sort of like pretending to walk down some fake stairs.
And at one point he's like waving and...
yeah, like waving like, hi, Mum.
Just really ditzy.
Yeah, like those little gags were so funny. I think the only character that didn't hit was the butcher guy. So
the guy who got all the meats for the organs.
yeah, so like there's at one point where they need to replace the sort of meat brain that they've made. So he just makes a haggis. But that joke didn't land for me.
Yeah.
That one. And then there's a bit where he's like, oh, just make sure you scoop all that up because we're going to put it in some burgers and sausages tomorrow. Didn't land.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's the delivery, the dialogue, or but like he's the one character in that entire scene that just didn't get a laugh.
The dialogue for me, because all he seems to talk about is the food.
Yeah.
So just kind of, okay, so what? That's just his character.
Yeah.
He's
a
guy
butcher.
He's just obsessed with food.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I couldn't really hop on with.
Yeah. I think
unless the actual person is really like that.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but sort of once you've had like one or two sort of, oh, this character's a butcher jokes, they get old really quick.
Yeah.
So that bothered me a little bit, but otherwise that scene is fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And obviously the scene comes to a very abrupt end when Aunt's sister arrives from Ibiza.
Oh yeah.
A bit earlier than expected and just faints.
Doreen, how was Ibiza? Oh.
Yeah. But I really loved that sequence. That was really good. And then, of course, Dec goes to screen it to Laszlo to see if he's convinced.
Yes. Now,
this is the scene we mentioned prior where you kind of really see the stature of Dec compared to Laszlo, where the height difference is remarkable. There is a tension in this scene because is he going to buy it? Is he going to believe the fake? Is he going to believe the forgery? I do think Dec's acting in this about like him being nervous and is a bit overacting. Like you can like sort of visibly see him gulp and he's like blinking a lot and his hands are twitchy. And I feel like that was probably those little gestures and those little things were not subtle enough for film. They'd have worked on stage, which is something he's probably used to, but I didn't think it translated well onto film.
Yeah.
But that said, that scene where Laszlo comes out and he's crying.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is proof.
This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. We are not alone.
All right, Zorro.
Ray, you have proven we are not alone. Imagine if Dec started doing that.
Yeah. Stranger danger.
Stranger danger.
But that is where it really kicks off that this could get bigger.
Yeah.
Someone bought the forgery. And obviously that sets off fireworks in Dec. And he's like, oh, hang on.
We can fool other people as well.
The world.
And he's like, we should make copies of it and sell it. And was it Anne arranges a screening of it?
Yeah, and I like the setup for this where they kind of cut back to them talking to Bill Pullman and they were like, oh, so we needed to get somewhere really big to screen it. Okay, where did you get? Natural History Museum. And he's like, wow. He's like, yeah, that's what we thought, but they were busy that day. Or like they wouldn't have us or something. Yeah. That was quite lovely.
Oh, that's it. Bill Pullman goes, he goes, no way. Yeah, that's what they said. So we had to go somewhere else.
That's it. Which I like that gag. That was good. And then they end up at the Museum of London. I've never heard of that.
No, nor have I.
But that's where they end up. And I don't know how the story got out because it was supposed to be a select screening of like people from corner shops or something. I don't know why people who run corner shops would be interested in a film of an alien autopsy. I don't connect that little leap of logic. But obviously there was some validity to it because obviously it blew up.
Yep.
And suddenly there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people wanting to see this film. And Ant says, no way, can't do this. This is ridiculous. We can't get the press involved. And Deck is immediately spying an opportunity to make some money. So
Yeah.
it's like, in you come. And there's this moment, which I think is like a really well acted, and I think it really embodies what this movie's about. They're stood in the projection room looking down into the theatre where people are watching this film. And it's quiet. And Deck says, "Do you hear that?" And it's like, "Yeah, silence." And Deck's like, "Yeah, exactly. They're not laughing."
Yeah.
And see, I didn't have a read on the scene before that little exchange. I was like, sort of still kind of in my head, like, are they buying it? Do they think it's fake? What's the sort of read here? And it's when that line hits, you go, oh no, they're not laughing.
They're taking it seriously.
They are taking it seriously, which I assume was the sort of general sense at the time when it actually happened. You know, it really, really blew up. I don't know, that little exchange, I don't know whether that actually happened between the real people or whether it was just sort of, because they must have some creative license with the story.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. But part of me wonders, was that a genuine exchange that happened?
I mean, I think it might have been. It seems very believable that I can easily see the real Ray and Gary stood in that projection room watching the audience watch the film, and they both are like, no one's making a sound.
Yeah.
Like, and no one's leaving.
Yeah, that's a point as well, because if people weren't interested, they're like, oh yeah,
they could just get up and leave.
Just get up and go, but
and ask for a refund.
Stock still, glued to that screen.
Yeah.
Which I suppose begs the question of creative license. How much creative liberty do you think the film takes compared to the actual story?
It had to have taken some.
Does that ruin your film experience for you when something's based on a true story?
No, 'cause I think every single film ever made that is based on a true story has some creative licensing.
Yeah, of course. I often find, when you're watching a film or something and it's like based on a true story, and then there's people like, oh no, all of this really happened, and you're like, well, no, probably not all of it, and they just won't buy it.
Yeah,
and so,
like, oh my god, Titanic really happened. Yeah, the ship shinking. The ship sinking.
That's why they didn't get off the boat fast enough. They couldn't understand.
Ship sinking. What's he saying?
Bice erg.
The ship sinking.
Yes.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
But there was no Jack and Rose. There was no love story.
Yeah.
No, it was. They were real. They were in love. You see her really old at the end, and I'm like, yeah, that still didn't happen, though.
Yes, it's just an old actress.
It was just the ship sinking.
But it really bothers me now, because of those people, that whenever I see a film that's like based on a true story, I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The only time I've appreciated that subtitle is in Burke and Hare, with Simon Pegg and
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, where it comes up at the start, it says, "This is a true story," and then another subtitle comes up that says, "Except the parts that are not."
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And it's the only time that I've ever accepted the true story thing at the start of a film.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre claimed to be based on a true story.
Did it?
Yeah, but again, it takes a lot of liberties. So obviously there was no guy with a chainsaw brutally massacring people, but it was loosely based on the Ed Gein case. So Ed Gein was a guy who, I believe police came to his house. I could be saying this wrong, but I believe police came to his house, kicked the door down, they went in and they found lampshades, curtains, like a sofa, all made out of human skin.
Oh, so he wasn't an alien autopsy, he was an autopsy.
Yeah.
Ew, gross.
And the only part that Texas Chainsaw Massacre took from that was that Leatherface wears a mask out of human skin.
How inspired.
Yeah. But could you imagine there'd be people like, oh my god, Texas Chainsaw Massacre really happened? There's a psychopath that now with
But
the
you'd
chainsaw.
know about it, there'd be articles.
Yeah. There was like when Paranormal Activity came out.
Oh god, yeah, that was a
A
bad
movie
one.
that's not even based on a true story. Doesn't even claim to be.
Yeah.
But because of the style it's made in, like from the point of view of all these like really cheap, low quality security cameras, there was someone at the school that we went to who was like, oh my god, it really happened. And I'm like, I said to her, Love, if it really happened, A, they wouldn't show it in cinemas. B, how do you explain the credits?
Yeah, just end.
Yeah.
Cut to black.
She went, what do you mean? And I went, at the end it says that it has a director, it has producers, it has writers and actors.
That's what they want you to think. It's all fake, Ben. You Google any of those names, they don't exist.
Oh, so what you're saying is the film is real?
Yeah, but it's a cover-up. That's why the credits in there.
So they're covering up the cover-up.
I definitely thought that through.
This is the scandal of the century. This is a bigger scandal than Alien Autopsy.
Yeah. What is the worst film you could put based on a true story in front of?
The Room.
Oh my god, no, yeah. And she was tearing him apart, Lisa.
Yeah.
That's a fun game.
The Room.
No, I mean, like the Room drinking game's a fun game, but like also like just like spitballing movies and being like what if it was based on a true story? Like what implications would it have?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies based on a true story.
Finding Nemo. I'd like to think that's based on a true story. It's quite heartwarming in the end, isn't it? Just a couple of happy fish.
Inception.
Nice, yeah.
Batman Begins.
Batman and Robin.
Oh my god. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be awful. We are getting sidetracked.
I was going to say, we're going very off topic here.
Back to the Alien
Back
Autopsy.
to Alien Autopsy.
And Dick.
So, yeah, it gets bought by a bunch of television studios. And then it's put in a documentary called Fact or Fiction. Hosted.
The look on Ben's face right now when he couldn't remember the host's name. Absolutely glorious.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember his name. Hosted by Jonathan Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes.
Obviously, if you are a Star Trek fan, you'll know that Jonathan Frakes was in Star Trek The Next Generation. I can't remember his character's name, but obviously that would have been why he was put in that documentary, because of his fame from Star Trek. And yeah, he's like, they're showing all these different interviews from these professionals, and then they show footage of the autopsy. And Jonathan Frakes is there just like, is it real? Or is this the greatest hoax ever made?
Yeah. Now, that obviously this is a real documentary you can watch. You've seen more of it than I have.
Yeah.
How detailed is it?
It is pretty detailed. I mean, I will say, they perfectly recaptured the actual fake footage in the film.
Did they?
Yeah, perfectly.
Oh my god.
And some of the people, the whole documentary I couldn't take seriously.
Yeah, well the thing is, because you know it's based on a forgery, it's a lot of people who should be experts in their field talking a lot of shit.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I imagine it makes it quite a fun watch.
There's a woman in it who I found to be the funniest, because she's so serious, and she's talking about how she saw this thing and she was approached by somebody in the government who was basically gaslighting her, being like, no, you did not see this, and if you carry this on, we can do things. And like she's like I mean, I feel a little bad because she got a little bit upset.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time I'm thinking, love, I'm sorry, but you're talking shit.
Yeah. No, you know, people probably have various claims over different experiences and, you know, things done to them by the military and like sightings of alien crafts or what have you. But they're probably all such disconnected events.
Yeah.
That, you know, maybe it is something the military wants to cover up, but it's nothing to do with aliens.
No.
You know, I don't know how the military works.
God, I remember when Danny Dyer did it was like a documentary series where he goes to America to try to prove the existence of UFOs.
What the what?
Yeah.
They need to prove the existence of UFOs, and they were like, who do we ask?
Danny Dyer. Now, this was years ago. So this was way before he was in EastEnders and anything like that. This was actually quite while he was very big.
Yeah.
And I suppose he was just taking on these different TV jobs because they were paying him a lot of money to do it. And I love, you know how much I love Danny Dyer.
Yes.
I say what you want about him, but I think he's brilliant. However, this series he did, along with the other series he did called, I think it was The Real Football Factory or something like that.
Yeah.
Was so stupid. And there's a clip from one of the episodes of the UFO one where he goes to this American guy's house, and the American guy takes Danny Dyer to his computer and he plays this video. And it's a video of a house, and you see the window, and as he's looking up the window, you just see this tiny, it's so obviously fake, but you just see this tiny alien head just pop up, and Danny Dyer's there going, oh, wow. And I'm just like
a balloon on a stick that they've drawn an alien face on.
I would not, that would not surprise me. It's so painfully obvious that it's fake, and Danny Dyer is just, he believes it, and I'm just there like, oh my god.
Kushti, we've got the proof.
Like, Dyer, I love you, but what the were you doing?
He was probably just getting paid a load of money.
Probably, yeah.
But the documentary, now I was going to watch it, but I got sidetracked.
Right.
Because because it's on YouTube for free, and I got sidetracked reading the comments. And they really tickled me, because we know it's a hoax. And so I thought I'd read some choice ones.
Oh, God, okay.
This was the first one that really made me laugh.
Yeah.
This was posted 8 months ago.
Okay.
Right? So, fairly recent. Thanks for sharing. I haven't seen this since it first aired. It goes well with everything coming to light. What's coming to light?
But
it's fake.
When was that posted?
8 months ago.
I mean, it was proven to be fake years ago.
In like 2006.
Before, that was when the film came out.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. So, yeah. That really tickled me. This is so crazy to watch with everything that's going on recently. Like, we're not alone. Is this the one with the really funny response? Yeah. Which this has a reply to it that reads, "Don't you have enough sense to know that there are astronomers looking at the night sky 24/7 and there are satellites monitoring the Earth 24/7, and so far there has never been any footage of an alien aircraft entering the Earth's atmosphere." It's like, dude, it's a hoax. Don't get so angry.
Oh my god.
And then there was one more I wanted to read. Okay, so this has a timestamp on it, so I'll just say, like, the timestamp. At timestamp 26:38, if you turn the speed up all the way, you'll see it blink. Was that thing alive? No, it was a f***ing mannequin! They probably dropped some raspberry jam on the thing. People will believe anything.
They will, yeah.
It really made me laugh. If you're a skeptic and you want to have a good laugh, just look at the comments.
Yeah. So it's called, if you want to watch it, it's called Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction. The whole doc is on YouTube for free. Yeah, and again, if you want to have a good laugh, just, give that a watch.
It really makes me lose faith in humanity.
I just love Jonathan Frakes, because it's so obvious that Jonathan Frakes does not believe a word of it. He's just there because he's an actor. He's getting paid to host this documentary. And it's at the end when he's like, what if the alien was real? Let's say he was a scientist and he crash lands on this unknown blue planet. And I'm just there like, I can just tell that Jonathan Frakes he's learned this from his script.
Yeah.
And he's just giving it his all in the performance.
Yeah. I really love the idea that they tried giving it a backstory. Like, he's a scientist named Jeff.
But there's moments in the doc where other scientists, they're basically saying it doesn't have male genitalia, which suggests this alien could possibly be a female, although it doesn't have any breasts.
Things can reproduce differently. Not all animals lay eggs. Bacteria can just split.
Yeah.
You know, Lord knows what aliens can do. They're not going to be conformed to humanity's, male and female anatomy. It's just not going to work that way.
At one point, they interview a guy who works at the University of Sheffield.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's why?
And he's doing the same thing. Like, he's analysing the footage, and he's like, I think he was the first one to go, yeah, well, it seems that what seems to be an alien doesn't have any male genitalia, which suggests that this creature could be female. And it's just like...
You work in a university and you were fooled by a shop window dummy with some big eyes and some raspberry jam.
By guys that made it in a flat
Yeah.
in London.
Yeah. I wonder what else you could fool the world of.
I mean, well...
Shall we have a go?
I was going to say, I said this yesterday when we were watching the film. You couldn't pull it off nowadays.
You don't know that until we
I mean,
try it.
it depends on what it is that you're trying to fool them on.
Let's try and convince the world that Donald Trump is actually...
Is a good person.
No, let's not go that far.
Oh, okay.
Let's convince the world that Donald Trump is actually 3 badgers in a trench coat.
How are we going to pull that off?
I don't know, but we can.
We'll hire some actors.
Yeah.
We'll dress them as badgers.
I've never seen any badgers in my life.
And then we'll dress those badgers
Yeah.
as Donald Trump.
Yeah. Wig and all. And tiny hands.
And
paint them orange. Anyway, enough of that.
I've never seen badgers before in my life.
Now once. Where did we get to?
So it all becomes a success.
Yeah. They're on top. They're winning. It's really cool.
They get a truckload of money.
Yeah. There's 2 things I want to say with that. One, the scene of Gary quitting his job.
Oh, yeah.
Loved that.
Pours the cup of tea on Jimmy Carr's head.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, in other news, I'm thinking of letting Gary go.
Yeah, which is a good line. But, like, could you imagine if you know that you're, like, sitting pretty on so much money, you're set for life, why the wouldn't you walk in and just dump a coffee over your boss?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It would be great.
Yeah. There's also the scene where... Now, this is when they're sort of starting to sell the film internationally, and they're taking cash.
Yeah.
And Ant's like, why we're taking cash? This is good, like, makes it, could be traceable, and I don't know how it all works, but, And Deck's like, yeah, I know we weren't going to do cash, but I just want to see it.
Yeah, because he says, this might be the only time in our lives that we'll ever get money like this.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to smell it. I want to touch it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bit of a dodgy line without context, isn't it? Well, if you insist, Ben. But no, that bit, because then it cuts them kind of after, like, sort of in Deck's bedroom with all the money on the bed, and obviously it doesn't have quite the same impact. But it reminds me of that scene from Breaking Bad where there's the 2 guys that see all of Walter White's money.
They go in that garage,
and they go and lay on it.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, let me think of that.
But then, yeah, because when they're in the bedroom and they're looking at them, and then they grab it all and they throw it in the air and they're like, yeah. And then I believe it's towards the end, they've got the big stack of money. He gives a 7th of it. Deck gives a 7th of it to Ant. He's like, oh, Merry Christmas, mate. And then they hear the doorbell, and Deck goes to the door, and it's the guy from Shameless.
Yes.
With the supposed damaged footage that he's managed to salvage some of it.
Yeah. No dialogue.
No dialogue.
But there's sound.
There's a bit of there's a bit of like a little bit of eerie music in the background, which suggests that there is something not quite right. And then he goes to hand the footage to Deck, and while Deck's trying to pull it off of him, he manages to snatch it, and you just hear a noise from the guy from David. He just goes, and he looks like really deadly. Obviously, that did not really happen.
I think it did. And you can't convince me otherwise.
I say it is real, therefore it is real.
Said so. So there.
All right, Karen. And then Deck brings it to Ant, and they play it on the projector, and you hear the old man's voice in the background echoing, saying, I was woken up at a certain time in the morning, and I was flown to this base that I'd never heard of, and I was ordered to film this. And you see all these soldiers, what you think are soldiers, standing around what looks like an alien. It's clearly a load of
Yeah.
Or, I mean, for all we know, we could be wrong.
Yeah, but here's the thing. My personal belief is the guy who sold it to Deck in the first place had already forged it.
Yeah.
Like, it was already fake, and he was trying to swindle him. But then it blew into something a lot bigger.
Yeah.
That is my personal belief. Because the explanation of how this guy has the film is it essentially just kind of got forgotten about. So the autopsy happened, and there was like 8 copies of the film. Some went to the White House, some went to the Air Force, blah blah blah. But this one copy went back to Florida with the guy who shot it, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll come and collect it." But they explain it as it's around the time where the Air Force and the military split, and the CIA's formed. I can't remember the name of what it used to be before it was the CIA. So it was all these separate entities all of a sudden. So I assume the sort of responsibility of collecting this film was sort of maybe passed around, or that all these other agencies would be like, oh well, the military will do it. Oh no, the Air Force will do it, or whatever. And so he ends up with this film. But the government runs all the military and on all this, and if it was something so secret, so important, I don't think they'd let something like that slip through the cracks.
No. So what you're saying is that the old guy was trying to rip off Deck to make money.
That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I personally don't feel like a big power like the US military and the US government would let something like that just go.
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen. Speaking of the US, actually, I do find there's a bit sort of towards the end, and I feel like it's really inconsequential when they're doing all the interviews and all the publicity travelling around. There's all these cutaways to America that really slow down the pacing towards the end.
All the montagey bits. Yeah.
It just really slows the film down. Like, it's chugging along nicely, and then all of a sudden there's a montage that you don't really care about. And then there's this whole really, really minor subplot where Deck ends up sleeping with a reporter. He doesn't know she's a reporter, but she's clearly trying to get to him and try and get some kind of exclusive or something, and they end up sleeping with her. Like, you could have condensed that down to a single scene.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be like such a whole big subplot. And the amount of montages and scenes where they're on planes in airports, going through customs or whatever, and we've seen this. Come on, move it on.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much covers all my notes on it.
Yeah.
I like the ending. I like that they sort of just decide to just bury the film.
Yeah, they're like, because they say, because once they watch the footage, Ant's like, I don't think I can go through all this again.
Yeah.
And Deck's like, yeah, me too. And plus, even if they were to do that, then everyone would be like, oh, so you faked that footage?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, let's just bury it.
Yeah.
And then Bill Pullman's like, so the footage is still out there? Yeah. Well, let's go get it!
But it's never seen the light of day, has it?
No.
I really don't think it's real.
No, nor do I.
Maybe, because no one saw that film in the first instance other than Santilli, Deck. Well, not actually Deck. Welcome to Saturday Night Takeaway, and we've got a big reveal for you. But so there could have been any number of lies from Santilli first seeing what is supposedly the original film, right up until the fact that they get the original film back and restored.
Oh, they interview Ray by the real Ray in the doc.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is it full of bullshit?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
I can't. Oh, no, I have to watch it now because I need to see how full of bullshit it is. Oh, because like I say, I get some weird enjoyment out of knowing someone's bullshit, and you just keep letting them talking. It's like, okay, let's see how far you take it. See how far you go.
Yeah.
It's a nice little satisfaction out of that. I'm surprised the real people actually show up at the end of the film. There's like a really, really brief little interview with them at the end.
Yeah.
I think they were producers on the film,
They might have been executive producers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think they were, yeah.
That's quite cool. It's like the guy from Wolf of Wall Street, who it's actually based on, appears at the end. So when Leonardo DiCaprio, at the very end, in the last scene, is like, "Sign with this pen," the guy he goes and speaks to first is the real Jordan Belfort. Yeah. So I like that kind of thing. I think that's neat. It's novel. It's cool.
They did the same thing when they were making The Disaster Artist. There's an after credit scene where James Franco as Tommy Wiseau is at this party and he starts talking to this guy. I can't remember his name, but he's played by Tommy Wiseau.
I don't remember that. We watched that together, and I don't remember that.
It's literally after all the credits.
Oh, okay. So okay, that'd be why I didn't see it then.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of Ant and Dec's foray into film then?
I think it's a fun watch. To say that it's the only movie they've ever done, I think is interesting, because I think they had potential to do more movies.
Yeah, I do, because they started in Biker Grove, So they were familiar with acting. And I don't know, maybe they hit kind of a ceiling, or they decided they didn't really like it and wanted to stick to hosting gigs. I don't know. But I feel like even now, there's still potential for them to do more cinema.
Yeah.
I think...
Maybe not cinema, maybe more TV stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Because I
could see them doing like a Netflix comedy or something like that.
Oh, that'd be interesting, yeah. Because I don't think they're necessarily bad actors. Like, I suppose they started on Biker Grove. They're used to being in front of really big audiences and sort of handling those crowds and sort of, hosting those shows, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And they are really professional about everything. So I don't know. I think I would kind of like to see them in something again.
Be interesting.
Just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can follow us on Instagram at Ben and Joel Reviews.
You can also follow us on Twitter, or X as it's now referred to, at B_J_reviews123. And we will see you next week.
Take care.
Take care, my loves.